It's time to turn your life-challenging moments into life-changing messages. Welcome to the Power Lift Stories podcast, where we are interviewing women whose stories will leave you lifted up, fired up, and fueled up with hope, courage, and inspiration. We want to thank our sponsor, Powerful Journey, who helps women tell their stories, write their books, and building a profitable brand around both. Join the masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com. That is PHYLLISJENKINS.com. Now here's your host, Phyllis Jenkins.
Welcome back to the podcast. We are super excited that you're here, and we are excited to have an amazing young woman tonight, Dr. Colleen Law, who has a remarkable story. And Colleen, welcome.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here.
I'm glad that you're here. And let me just say that I met Dr. Colleen Law through the 48 Days membership that we were a part of several years ago. And she and I have not only become friends, but we are accountability partners, meaning that we meet every Monday and we hold each other accountable for our goals for not only that week, but we have 12 weeks goals that we go over with each other. So she is my accountability partner, my friend, my sister in Christ, but she is also a professor at the Liberty University. She has several businesses, which she will tell you about tonight as well. And let's just jump right in, Colleen. First of all, what do you want to add that I left off?
I think you did a great job. There is nothing to add.
Wonderful. Well, let's jump right into our interview. And the first question is, if you were to give your life story a title, what would that title be and why?
You know, I'm not completely sure what the title would be, but for the last 20 years of my life, I would say it was Finding Colleen.
Mm,
Prior to that, when I add in prior to that, I'm not sure what it would be.
that's fair
But
enough. That's fair enough. Well, let's just share your story, if you would, please.
sure. I guess my story really begins when I was in grad school in my doctoral program. I had just finished on this particular day completing my comprehensive exams. I had 3 that day. And I actually went home while I was walking home, planning a celebratory dinner for my family and myself. And I got home, and on the porch was a sheriff, a local sheriff. And he came to tell me that my family, my husband and my triplet boys, had been killed by a drunk driver. And that really started me not really knowing me, because I quite frankly passed out and did not really come to a conscious state for several days. At which point, when I did, I was in the hospital, a mental health hospital. And I stayed in and out of mental hospitals for about 10 years because I just did not, I really did not want to live. But I do remember on the very first hospital, I was sitting in the day room with all the other patients. We were getting ready to do an exercise that we do every day. And I was writing in my notebook. And I heard a voice. It said, "Look." I knew immediately it was the voice of God. And I looked up, And I looked around at all of the people in the room, including the caretakers. And I said, God, I don't want to be like these people. That was the first time I had a conscious thought of the future.
Wow.
Okay. And even though later on I went in and out of hospitals, mostly because of medications and becoming suicidal on certain occasions, that kind of thing. But over the next 10 years, I slowly got myself together. And in the last year of that 10 years, I had decided I wanted to go back and finish my doctoral program, which of course had abruptly ended that day. And so I contacted the school, got back into the program, and where I was told I had 14 months to finish my doctoral studies, my dissertation, really. I had done all of my studies. So now I had 14 months to finish my dissertation before I had to completely re-enroll in the graduate program. So I sat there and I figured out the way to finish it in 14 months. And I did. On August 21st, 2010, I graduated. And it was one of the happiest days of my life.
I absolutely love that you have turned your pain into purpose, because not only did you get your doctorate degree, what are you doing now to help others to finish their doctorates?
Well, one of the businesses that I have is called ABD Coaching Solutions. So I help all doctoral candidates who have been away from their school for whatever reasons, like I had been, and who have come back to finish their dissertations in 1 year. And to date, I have helped 248 people successfully get their dissertations completed and get their doctorate.
That has to be such an amazing feeling for you to
It is.
see what you have been able to do.
It is. I mean, to take what I learned for myself and then be able to apply it with other people has just been amazing. The first few I was like, okay, maybe it's a fluke. But as they kept going, you know, I began to realize that there was really something there. And I knew God had really blessed this business simply because of the way it had grown.
Amen.
It had grown, first of all, out of me knowing I did not want to spend the rest of my life in a hospital. And then later on, I took 48 Days to the Work You Love, a program that was given by my church. And I thought I was going to build what's now my other business, but that's where I built ABD Coaching Solutions. And then I joined 48 Days Eagles shortly thereafter, a few years after. And as they say, that's the story. The story just keeps rolling.
Yeah. Colleen, your story of tragedy, you've turned it around. God has allowed you, he's guided you, he's gifted you to turn it around. What would you say to someone watching today or listening today who has gone through a tragic circumstance or walking through one at the moment? What strategies or what would you tell that person?
Well, one major thing is get closer to God,
Mm.
because God called me when I was in that hospital. And I knew, even through all the medicine that was making my brain foggy and through all the bad feelings and that kind of thing, I knew God was the answer. I just didn't know how at that time to embrace that relationship. So all I did is I kept reading the Bible. Okay. So I would say, first of all, pray. The second thing is to make sure you have someone, a mentor, a confidant, an accountability partner, who you can talk to about how you're feeling. I had one special person, and she ended up being my therapist, but she was also a friend. And she was a godly friend, godly therapist, and we were able to talk through every feeling I had every day. I saw her 3 times a week, you know, so that helped greatly. And then I think the other thing I would do is not only get closer to God, but accept that this has happened because God is giving you something else, either at that moment or down the road.
Wow. I know that your story, you sharing your story today, is to help someone. There is someone listening today who needed hope, who needed encouragement, who needed inspiration. And by you sharing your story, courageously sharing your story, and how God has helped you through it, I truly believe, Colleen, that the person on the other end of this is receiving exactly what God wanted them to receive today. And I want to ask one more question, and then we're going to let you tell how they can connect with you, tell about each of your businesses, and then we will have a Q&A with, actually, Dr. Colleen Law is teaching a lesson with our Writer's Journey members who are all live right now, watching and listening. And when we are done with our interview, they will be taught a lesson and then Q&A. So let me just ask you, Colleen, how has your perspective on life changed over the years?
Oh, geez. Well, one of the biggest changes is that I have learned to value experiences more than material things.
Wow.
Okay. Relationships and what we've done in those relationships. I value learning a lot more than I did before. I've always wanted to make myself a better person, and I continue to do that. So my perspective is, you laugh, you love, and you live. I know I used to hate seeing those stupid signs. Okay. But that's really what you do. You laugh, you love, and you live. And all of that is going to help you live the best life you can. And that's what I
Amen.
try to do.
Amen. Colleen, thank you so much for sharing your story today. And how can our audience connect with you? And please share about your businesses as well.
Okay. Well, first, I've stated a little bit about my first business, ABD Coaching Solutions. The second business I have is not so highfalutin. I build Lego houses and murals for people. So yes, I build with those little bricks that kids play with all the time. And I've made a good living doing that. My father still doesn't believe that I can make a business and make a living playing with Lego, but I can, and I do.
And
Um,
before you go on to the next, tell who, I know the answer to this. Who is your biggest customer with the Lego business?
they're real estate agents. Okay, I have real estate brokers, really. I have a contract with 5 real estate brokers who buy my houses. They contract with me to build a house that's on the market that they're trying to sell. And once it's sold, they turn around and give that house to the new owners as a gift. And so they thought that was a really nice gift. And I've been doing that now for 2.5 years. And they love it, and I'm trying to expand even more.
Yes, expand indeed, because you've become so busy with this that you've had to hire others to come along, and you've had to teach them how to build houses so that you can continue to do your other work that you're doing. So
That's true.
absolutely. And the amount that you are making with this blows my mind. So I absolutely love that. I'll let you continue to share.
Okay. If you'd like to get a hold of me, there's actually 3 ways. There is through ABD Coaching, which is abdcoachingsolutions.com. ABD is all in caps. You can get a hold of me through custombrickhouses.com, or you can get a hold of me at my personal email, which is colleen.e.law@icloud.com.
And how do you spell Colleen?
That's Colleen.
Yes, 2 L's, 2 E's.
Yes.
Colleen, I want to say thank you again for coming and blessing us today. Again, your story is amazing, and it shows how God can pick us up when we're at our lowest and continue to show us that He has a purpose. He has a future and a hope for each of us, and then help others to come along and do the same. So thank you again. And for those of you who are watching or listening, let me say that you too have a story. We all have a story. And if you are ready to tell your story and you're not sure how to get started, reach out to us at Phyllis at phyllisjenkins.com. That's PHYLLIS at phyllisjenkins.com. Or you can go to phyllisjenkins.com, sign up for our newsletter, sign up for the 14-day free trial into our Writer's Journey community. That's who is live here tonight. We're about to get together and hear a lesson and then follow up with Q&A. But we would love to have you come and join the Writer's Journey so that you too can tell your story and write your book. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you back here next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in being on the show, go to phyllisjenkins.com. You can also sign up for the Powerful Journey Masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com.